I would now like to invite Dr. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw.
First and foremost, I can't tell you how touched and overawed I am by this gesture of Hari's to dedicate this book to me. And I must thank you, Hari, for this wonderful, wonderful, thoughtful gesture. I don't know whether I deserve it or not, but I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. I think Dr. Ravindra really, gave you the perfect introduction to this wonderfully written book. In fact, I must say I didn't know this side of Hari at all. And after reading this book, I realized there are many, many facets to Hari that I need to understand and know. And I'm sure in the future I'm going to ask him many, many questions which I never did in the past. But I think this is a time when all of us as members of civil society, we do need to reflect on what are we doing in this life? What is this life all about? And what is our commitment and engagement with our fellow citizens? I think that's extremely important. We are all a part of an important society, and we need to make society good. And I think today already we are seeing in this country that there is a lot of conflict in our society. There's a lot of angst in our society. And I think all this comes from what Hari has shown in his book, a sort of a feeling of restlessness because there's no contentment in what we have in this life. How do we build this sense of fulfillment and contentment? And I think a lot of it has to do with a sense of giving back to this society that we live in. Many of us are very fortunate to have done very well in our lives. I mean, isn't there something in you, some conscience in you that says, I think I owe a lot to this society that has supported me, that has allowed me to be so fortunate. And maybe I should do something to help others to actually come up in life. And I think that's what a lot of us are trying to do. I mean, we can't do everything, but in our own small way, how do we make a difference to society? How do we actually make society feel better? How do we make society feel that, this is a wonderful society that we all belong to? And I think, in a way, we must be very fortunate because as Bangaloreans, I think we have a wonderful society. We have a very inclusive, cosmopolitan society that basically does have a very deep sense of belonging. I mean, that's why we put up with all the problems that we have in Bangalore, and yet we love our city. Because I think for some reason, we have a sense of belonging. And I think this contentment actually comes from a sense of belonging. And if you have that sense of belonging, then you want to make your own society a better society. And it is that deep sense of belonging that will make you give back to society. So I think as someone who has had this very deep belonging with my own city, I've always felt that I want to do something to make my city better. And I think many of the philanthropic gestures that I have made or have perceived to have made is really about making my city better, making it a better city for my fellow citizens. That's what I really have done. And I must say I'm very impressed with this thought that Hari has provoked in all of us when you read this book in terms of various types of characters that he has brought out in the book. And I was particularly taken with one, the last chapter where the three people that he has characterized, that Satya, Raja and Tom. And one of them, I think Raja says that, they've been asked, what is your weakness? Do you recognize your weakness? And I thought one statement was very true. One of them says that, what others perceive as my weakness is actually my strength. And I thought that was a very thoughtful statement that is there in this book. Because many of us who have a lot of inner strengths and very important strengths are never recognized for that because people perceive that as our weakness. And I think that's something which we all need to dwell on because every one of us has a very important strength in us, and it is important for us to draw out those strengths, recognize those strengths in a very meaningful way and not look at them as weaknesses. So I think, Hari, thanks for sort of opening our eyes to many aspects of what society is all about, why it is important to give back to society. And I think Dr. Ravindra really brought it all out so well, and of course your book has really brought out a lot of what we just take for granted. So thank you for making us think about these things. I hope that this book will be read by many, many people, because I think it's important for people to read these kind of books, which are easy to read. You haven't pontificated, because you made it a storytelling exercise where you want people to think about these things. And I'm sure many people who read this book will identify with many parts of your book. And I hope we can really get people and get citizens to be more thoughtful and more engaged in terms of giving back to their society. Thank you very much.